Hi. The only way to win the lottery in regards to your watch is on your hand. You must go to the Powerball, and based on the watch that you wear, it's always an evil eye. An evil eye is the number 51. And I enjoy the Invicta watch, which is always pointed out by the bottom of it and also in the back. 39 always. And if you're spiritual, you will know that God uses T as sacrifice, which is 20. 54 is how you take your thumb and you press down your um your index finger for the 54. If, and I mean if, you are the heart of God, and the heart of God is 58. But I'm going to tell you this right now, that if you are not the heart of God and you're not in tune and spiritually lifted with God, and you don't talk inside your hands and say, God, I love you, God, I love you, God, I love you continuously, you will go through so many different realms and go through so many different emotions. And I hope that you guys are ready, because I went through some serious things where I had to draw blood from myself to express to God how much I love God as my sacrifice just for this watch. And the power of that sacrifice is 7, the first letter in God's name. Also, you have to know that the sacrifice that was for God, the first individual ever spoken of, was supposedly Jesus, which is J. I put in a 10. But next to that, I put at 11. Jesus was killed by the love of a woman, which was Jezebel. That's why the 10 is also there too. Um, and as for next to the 12, the Lord is expressed as well. And the 23 is for the woman that Jesus loved. And that was the reason that Jesus was actually killed and sacrificed for the 34, in which 34 is also a sacrifice, as in you take your thumb and your index finger and you twist your wrist to the left, and that will clock it off to be 34. And that power is the power of the eye of God. You play those two together in the Powerball, and it'll come out. As for my watch, Invicta, they say, God says that the Invicta watch is the most savage watch, which is the 3921, the U. People say that the U is a savage big head. So you got to wear the 21 hat, which is the True Religion hat. But let me speak on this, because True Religion, that is something so serious that when you're praying in that manner, you really have to use the gesture of the fingers in the proper manner, where you take your right hand and you continue to palm up to the right and palm up to the left. But you better have the love for that entity, and that entity has to be able to have presented itself to you, which is a being that is of a spiritual nature that wears burgundy. And that individual is a woman. And when the man comes to you, that means that you have completely connected the two, which is the 44. And if you do connect with them, then you are the heart of the, not only N, which is the bald head savage, that'll give you your 39, which is on your watch, the Invicta. So I don't know if you guys want to come with me with the Invicta squad. And the Powerball is the 8, which is represented as H, the heart of the 44, the Burgundy's gods, and as well as the ball heads, in which you got to be able to be like, them ball head guys, they are so aggressive because they are. When they show off their heads, their energy comes off like phew, right away because they don't have no hair covering up. They don't have no hair covering up their head to slow down the energy that's being released. So they really don't give a damn what they release because they've been through so much through this spiritual realm of reaching their highest high. And I understand that, and that's cool. But we have to be able to make a change at this moment. You know, it's coming off as those guys are very abusive, and hopefully they'll change their mind with this information that I'm providing to them and not rapping it no more, not singing the shit no more. I'm giving it to you straight up, raw, right here, uncut, nothing but love. Okay, I want to go to the next one. This is for the ladies that rock the watches. That's for the men that rocks the watches. So you gotta play them two together, right next to each other. So you got the 4, which is for meaning dark female. So you got 4 6. Dark females are yellow, and yellow meaning that not necessarily a group of women that are yellow, but nature is the dark female that's yellow. You go outside and you look at a tree, majority of the trees are shaped in yellow. So when you look at them trees and you make your eyes separate themselves by piercing them open, you will see that that tree represents a dark female that's yellow, that's represented as 35, which means like usually 35 is like the blood of God, which is like the blood of all dead beings, which is pretty much all in the ground at this very moment, with all type of diseases that goes into the trees, that goes into the fruits, that goes into the vegetables. But the most pronounced alphabet is the Y. That's why they use yellow in the 35. As for the 38, that's representing the cheetah. The cheetah print represents an individual of that's very fast and quick to maneuver to be the great individual, not necessarily that that person has a disease or anything of that nature. It could be a being that's trying to help a person that has a disease, or an individual that is of a wild nature that has to be a wild nature to protect the queens, which is the Powerball, which makes all individuals as females queens, regardless if you have a disease or not. One should be still respected as a woman. You know what I'm saying? You never belittle a woman. So any of the men out here that's trying to represent on leading the way, and you're degrading the women just to lead the way, no one's going to be able to get that gift in its fullness magnitude, that these numbers could just drop down to be in a library for life, and everybody will be able to get that check all together, and no one will ever have to starve. No one will ever have to need, because then we wouldn't have to worry about the best garments. We will only probably need at least about one set for the whole week in order to fulfill the need that God's eye has to offer for you, and not a closet full of shit that's causing for the earth to deteriorate, because at the end of the day, you're going to start throwing it away. You start throwing it away. What the hell are we going to do with it? It's just going to make the earth impossible to clean up its pollution because we keep accumulating shit. It doesn't matter if you donate it or not. It's still an accumulation of more stuff. And so, when you play those numbers up in the Powerball, they're going to drop down in whatever city you're in, your fantasy 5, like that's here where I'm from, which is going to be that's inside my watch. I got the 5, and the beauty of the front of the watch has a bunch of lines on it, which represents to me always 11. I didn't play it. And the T is right there. It means a sacrifice, which is 20 of a big head, a ball head. So that is a 28. But usually that's when I wear like a horse hat, all white hat with a blue horse on the front of it. That God loves this blue horse. So, when I say sacrifice, it doesn't mean that that individual is going to die. It means that that individual has to lead the way to show the people how everyone in this world will be able to be rich. And if God is calling individuals to go to different groups, then they must listen and abide by it. And if they don't do it, then that individual that is chosen will decide on their punishment based on their heart. Then you got 31, which means that the 3 jumps over the T and grabs the 1 so that it can all accumulate together. Like I said, the 5 is in the inside of the watch. The 11 is on the front. The T is on the right at the end. The 28 is for the whole watch itself. It's a big head person's watch, you know. But you better wear the big hat that represents the 21 that's in the Powerball, which is red. And the 31 will be the 3 jumping over the T. All right. The other number that came out later on that day was a 4, 28, 32, 34, 39. So the 4 came from the Object D art, and it was the D in the middle that's being pointed at by the 11s that represent the numbers in the watch. And of course, the 28 is going to always be pronounced when you wear the red hat. Not necessarily the 21 will pop out, because it's all about what's not seen in that true religion hat. And the the 32 represents, there is like there's a color that you are represented as if you are a Democrat or a Republican. And even though I may have on the red hat, like I told you guys, sees the aggression of red, then it do a blue. And so when you wear red, your true color will always pop out. So I'm not telling you that 32 is your color, but it's definitely a blue color that represents who I am, which is on that left side that I always wear my watch. So that 32 is going to come out when you take your forefinger and your thumb, your index finger and your thumb, and you twist your wrist to the left, which is going to always come out as 34. And 39 is at the end for that I and that C that's together. So remember, you always got to start the Powerball with those 4 sets. The man and woman watches with nature. Then you got to go back to Jesus and God. And you take this watch as Invicta. But you got to be able to respect these gods as being respectful as to their religion. You don't have to be part of their religion, but you have to be able to respect it enough that you come back and tap into it and give them your feelings and emotions. So also just be aware that when you're spiritually in tune, be careful what you think about, what you lust for, because that could be part of your test in order to be guided to be great individuals, to be able to win magnitudes of money that's beyond measures. Okay, just make sure you record it, how you feel, what you read, and always pray. That's the key. You always pray. Sometimes I do have my little dumb moments where I be thinking like, ugh, this woman get on my damn nerves. But I'll be like, I still love her. I have to bring myself back. And we all go through that. But then there's some stuff that God, I don't know if God will forgive it because it hurts so much to the heart when a person thinks of things like this. I want to speak on it. I spoke on it in another story, so I'm not even going to go there right now. But definitely the colors in the world are changing. So once you make it to pink after gaining this information, that means that you're special and okay with God. All right. But like I said, red is just an aggressive color that God sees, because that is the number one sacrifice of all sacrifices, and that's blood, which will forever be 35 and 37. So if you live in a bloody house, ooh, you're gonna go through some shit. That bloody house, you probably half the time you don't want to stay home. Always stay out. You don't even know why you be out all the time. You be like, I do not want to be in that house. But when you got God by your side and you believe in and respect so many different religions, you'll be okay. Definitely will be okay. And God moves on his own. Individuals don't move everything. God moves. So remember that. This is all love. And hopefully you'll hear from me sooner with more information. But don't forget, you have to sacrifice that watch. Put it in the back in your bathroom, somewhere nice. And maybe outside on top of your garage, in the front yard, and let the moon drop.